Time to get inspired and improve your yoga knowledge in English. You're listening to Your Yoga in English, a podcast for yogis and yoga teachers that speak English as their second or third language and want to practice or teach yoga worldwide. I'm Annie, the founder of Enga Unite, and here to guide you on the way to become the confident and knowledgeable English-speaking yogi you want to be. Hello! How are you doing today? So we're live on Facebook and on Instagram, but I do want to invite you, if you're not a member already, to join our Facebook group, which is Teach Yoga in English support group, where we share a lot of content, especially for yoga teachers that would like to learn how to teach more effectively and confidently in English to an international community. And that's what we're going to speak about today as well. We're going to speak about inclusivity. And inclusivity is a hot topic. So if you're watching, tell me, what does inclusivity mean to you? Inclusivity is a very hot topic among yoga teachers. More and more, we are educated on how to make our classes more accessible, more inclusive. And over the past months, I have done a lot of research myself. I've spoken to many different people from different backgrounds, different experiences. And I do believe that we are becoming a lot more aware on gender, identity, body image, race, ill health, abilities. I think there's a lot of interviews and blog posts and books even that are already out there. I think that we are learning how to be more inclusive in offering variations, working with props, and creating a welcoming environment. But I do miss hearing about cultural differences based on continents, countries, languages, and religion. So that's what we're going to speak about today. Inclusivity in terms of continents, cultures, countries, languages, and religion. So what does it mean to be an inclusive yoga teacher? Being an inclusive teacher means that you are aware or consider our diverse experiences when you research, study, plan, teach, and communicate with your students. Then finding ways, so this is being an inclusive teacher, but finding ways of being inclusive is creating awareness of what our different experiences might be. It means respecting each individual's truth, meet your students where they are at, acknowledge their present state of being, and adapt your language and your behavior to them. So you might have seen our latest blog. Our latest blog is called Ways of Being Inclusive in Your English Yoga Classes Worldwide. And it's actually a two-parted blog. So the first part is all about countries, continents, language, and religion. The second part, we're speaking about health conditions, femininity, identifying as a woman, and beauty standards. So there are kind of two different types. I wouldn't say categories, but aspects. We've divided them into parts. So today and in this blog that I've just spoken about, we all speak about continents, countries, languages, and religion. If you would like to know more about this already, you can find it on the Enga Unite website. So it's engaunite.com/blog. And you can wait for the second blog, which is coming on Friday. So Friday the 11th. If you're watching this later, it might be there already. If you're watching this now or in the next 24 hours, it will be there on Friday. Before I start speaking about inclusivity in these terms, I want you to know that this is not a lesson or a training to teach you what to say, what to do, how to say it, or how to do it. It really is an invitation for you to show up for your students, to do your own research too, to being active in your learning about this topic specifically, and consider the diverse needs of your students. I don't have all the answers. It's a constant journey in which we keep learning more and more. More and more things come to the surface, so we never stop learning, as with anything. And I'm really speaking from the experience that I have, research that I've done, and from, like I said, my experience as an English teacher and a yoga teacher in a multicultural setting. So I've been teaching English and yoga in many different countries. And because I'm teaching English as a second language, I obviously work with many different cultures. So really, this is an invitation for you to do your research as well. But I really hope to provide you with some ideas, some new insights, some inspiration to start these studies for yourself as well. All right. And I'm really, really curious to your experiences with inclusivity as well. So don't be shy. Share your experiences, or maybe share your thoughts. Let us know what you are studying currently. And Inka says, hi, Inka. Really nice seeing you again. So inclusivity is being aware of the diversity of our students and respect them. I love this topic. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I'm glad you do. I hope what we're speaking about today resonates with you too. And we're going to dive in. Starting with religion. I think obviously there is a common thought idea that yoga is a religion. And that's not what I'm going to speak about today. So for some, yoga can be a spiritual experiences. Some don't feel that yoga is spiritual or religious at all. Others combine their spiritual and religious practices with yoga. I don't believe that there is one right or one wrong here. Everyone is different and everyone finds a way to adapt their yoga practice to them. So whatever it is, if you are religious in any way or do practice spirituality through yoga, it's a very personal experience and it's a very personal practice. So whatever makes you feel good, whatever feels right for you, it's the right thing to do. However, as a yoga teacher, we need to be aware that our students' experiences with religion or with yoga and religion are very personal and possibly more complex than we maybe have or can imagine. So, does this mean that before every yoga class you can ask every student, are you religious? Do you practice any type of spirituality? Or how does religion play part in your yoga practice? No. We can consider how a student might feel and how they might experience our class. But even if your intention is to be inclusive, it doesn't automatically give you the right to ask about people's personal information, or in this case, their spirituality or their religion. It's about knowing your students and assessing their boundaries. It's about knowing your students and assessing their boundaries. So how do you know what their boundaries are? How do you know when you maybe cross the line or when maybe you ignore their spiritual or religious practices? When finding ways you can be inclusive in your English yoga classes, ask yourself first, what are your boundaries? Where in this class do you feel that maybe you're too much or not giving it attention? At what point might I exclude a follower of the Islam or Christianity, or a student who doesn't believe in any religion, in this case, at all? And how can I accommodate a variety of viewpoints in my classes? Also ask yourself, what are their boundaries and how can I adapt to those boundaries? I want you to know that very often we think we are very different. We all have different experiences. We all have different ideas and perspectives, but we have more in common than we don't. In the end, we're all human and we all have a life. We all have a purpose. We all have goals. All of these things will look different for everybody, but there is a lot more than you can imagine that we do have in common. This means that there's also always ways to include everyone in your classes. So, as a school teacher, I was always told to not speak or completely avoid religion, politics, anything that could activate a certain standpoint or viewpoint. And I think that maybe when you work with children or primary school, high school, this could be different. But in yoga, I do think it's incredibly important that we acknowledge different stands and viewpoints, because ignoring or not giving enough attention to spirituality as a whole could actually seem as if you don't care, if you disagree, or maybe disrespect it. So I'm going to give you 4 simple general ideas that could help you increase your knowledge of religious celebrations and holidays. So these are across countries, across religions, across nations. It's different for everyone, but just 4 ideas that could help you increase your knowledge. For example, as a school teacher, my Jewish or Arabian students would never come to the classes on Friday. And it's not because they didn't feel like it and they were ready to celebrate the weekend. It's because it's a holy day of the week and it's often spent with family. Some countries or some religions don't allow any type of technology or transport. Other religions pray and they have meals all together. So it's a holy day, and this will be different in countries and religions all over the world, but it's a day that they can't go to class. So think of this when you plan, and think of this when you create your schedule. Then, some students might be fasting for religious or cultural reasons. And this can happen as well at different points in the year. If they attend your class anyway, you could maybe offer more gentle and slower practices, or tell them that they can always go slower by themselves, or if they feel fragile or low on energy. So really, really include this in your class planning as well. I hope that you're already offering variations, but if you know that there are students that maybe do feel fragile or low in energy, offer these kind of variations for them and be very, very open about it. Acknowledge this. Another thing that you can do is record your classes for the people that can't make it. So this goes for the people that are celebrating a holy day of the week, but it could also mean a specific holiday, for example, Chinese New Year, the Songkran Festival in Thailand. It could be Midsummer in Scandinavia. You see, every country has their own traditions and celebrations, and we need to acknowledge this and take this into account when we plan our classes and our schedule. The 4th point of the 4 ways that you can include more inclusivity is that when you cue or lead mindfulness practices, use words and vocabulary that are general enough for everyone to apply it to their own perspectives, their situation, or their belief system. So choosing general themes, use open-ended questions. So these are questions that we can't just answer with yes, no, or maybe. Use ideas that can be received and adapted by individuals in a way that serves them personally. So it's very general, very open, and everyone can take this theme or this idea the way they like to, or adapt it to the way they see things or they view things. So these ideas that are food for thought. And the courses and the workshops that we offer, we go into more specifics and more details. But I really hope that this gives you an idea of what to look for and maybe what to study when you do plan your classes and invite people to your classes that come from different places around the world. And I would love to hear your feedback. I would love to hear your ideas on this as well, because it's a conversation that we meant to have. It's something that we really, really need to share with the world. So don't be shy. Share your ideas and your experiences as well. So moving on. Speaking about religion, we're moving on to continents, countries, and language now. And these things are all very, I wouldn't say similar, but they all are linked. They all have to do with each other. The simple things that some people or yoga teachers, any type of school sometimes as well, tend to forget, especially now that we're teaching online and we're teaching in a worldwide international community or have international students, is, are you considering the time zones of your students, of your followers, or your potential students and followers? because it could well be that you're excluding people because you're not really taking into account their different time zones. I have to admit, it's something I'm struggling with. It's a tough job. It's really difficult to actually match everyone's timetables, but doing what you can, offering a variety of classes at different times during the day to involve more people is a way to increase inclusivity. Then, where do your students live? What is their seasonal experience like in their region or their country? So, from time to time, I hear teachers ask students to imagine things that they have never seen or have never done before. For example, I'm teaching people from, I see Israel is here, for example, Mexico. I'm teaching people from the Caribbean, people from very exotic places. And maybe there will be a teacher asking them to imagine snowflakes falling all around them, which is a beautiful romantic image, but not really their experience. If they haven't left the country, they haven't seen this before, they haven't touched snow before. So it's very challenging for them to imagine what this could actually be like. Speaking about snowflakes, a lot of people associate Christmas to winter snowflakes or maybe ice skating, for example. But imagine you have students from Australia, they never left the country either, and ask them to imagine a wintry scene. Probably this is not their experience either. They don't have the assumption that winter happens the same time as Christmas, or snow is falling down in December. Maybe that happens in July. So even if they can imagine what it looks like because they have seen it in pictures or in movies, this is not their personal experience. And it may seem like really small assumptions, really small things that we can do. But it's important that we don't take our normal experience to center our class around. So what is normal to us is only one person in one part of the world. If you're teaching an international class with people from all over the world, we have to use language that's very inclusive and thereby general and open. So not being too specific about what it should be like, what it should feel like, what should happen, what they should imagine. All right. So again, these are general, simple ideas, but yet I find them very important to consider when we speak about more inclusivity. And again, do you have a thing for yourself? Do you use themes and vocabulary that are general enough for people from different countries, continents, and regions to make it personal and relatable to their experience in your yoga classes? Language. Next point, language. So here we speak about language all the time. Obviously, you guys know that I'm all about language, and what we do at Enga is all about making yourself understood rather than making yourself heard. That we love all the accents in the world, and we really want to help you become confident and effective in your yoga classes. So language is a really, really, really important point for me. I'm speaking about language in terms of speaking English as a second language. And it's something that I don't often see or hear about when I listen to people speaking about inclusivity. What I would like to speak about today is words or expressions getting lost in translation. Words and expressions that get lost in translation. A while ago, I was live with Marta, and Marta and I work together. Marta is also an English teacher. Because she's an English teacher, she also works with people from all over the world. And we spoke about connotations. So a connotation is often thought of as a positive or a negative association and can differ from person to person. Yes, we're back. Connotations. I gave the example of the word thin. I'm going to give another example. For example, the word blue. Blue could be a very positive color because you might think of the sky, or a blue sweater, a blue pair of shoes that you really love. But blue can also be used in an expression, for example, feeling blue, which means feeling down, being depressed, or really sad. So there are many, many words that have different connotations. And basically it means that depending on who you speak to, depending on where you live, it has either a positive or a negative meaning. Sometimes it's neutral. It depends on you as well. So there isn't one right or one good thing, but we need to be aware of how we use these words in our yoga classes. So an important thing to remember is that language is linked to political and historical context, especially when it comes to race, gender, and sexuality. So as language learners, also as yoga teachers, I advise that we research the correct use of words in different countries, cultures, and languages to avoid this type of miscommunication. And it's very important that we consider how different meanings of words can actually influence the state, the mood, or maybe the thought patterns of a person. And we do this to avoid miscommunication. So try not to directly translate things that are normal in your language to another language, because these words can be very, very, very different. Also, don't shy away from researching other countries' behavior and gestures. For example, I've never been to Japan, but my Japanese students told me that in Japan it's very offensive or disrespectful to make eye contact. Whereas in many different other countries, eye contact is a sign of respect. It does mean that you're listening to someone, that you're paying attention to someone. So these are differences that we can take into account too. Then making the peace sign with your index and middle finger, with the front of your hand or the top of your hand facing front, may look fun and cute and jolly in the USA, for example. But in the UK, United Kingdom, it's very offensive. And all of these things have to do with our historical context, the thing that I spoke about just now. But it could also just be behavior and culture. So gestures, behavior, and direct translations, 3 things to take into account. The last thing I want to touch on today is that yoga didn't used to be a Western thing. You know that, we all know that, but we need to recognize where and who yoga comes from. Reflect on how you have adapted your yoga practice to your lifestyle or your beliefs, and minimize your type of normal. Because remember, your normal is only one person's normal in one part of the world. It doesn't speak for the rest of us. So as a yoga teacher, it's your job to adapt to as many students as possible. It's your job to be inclusive. It's your job to study, research, to be thoughtful of your students' experiences and their needs, to make your classes inclusive, and then offer your classes to a variety of individuals. So realize how you have adapted your practice to your lifestyle, your beliefs, your situation, because that will also help you to adapt your yoga classes to your students and what they need from you. So let's give you a few questions to think about and really help you get on with this and maybe start your own research from here. So ask yourself, how does your class and how does your content apply to other countries, continents, and how does it apply to their cultural and religious backgrounds and experiences? So how does the content of your class apply to other countries, continents, and your students' cultural and religious backgrounds? Do you research, speak to others, and be active in your learning about these things, about these differences and inclusivity? Do you actively participate in conversations about these topics? And maybe make a list of things that you can do from now on. And you can share it with your community, share it with your followers on Instagram, on social media, and really get out there actively, because these are conversations that we need to have. These are conversations that are happening a lot already, but the more, the faster we can create this inclusive environment in our yoga communities, but also in our day-to-day life. So I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts, hear about your experiences, hear about the things that you've been working on and the things that you would like to work on and improve. And next week, we'll be back with another chat to speak about 3 other elements to increase inclusivity in your classes. So next week, we're going to speak about health conditions, femininity or identifying as a woman, and beauty standards. If you have questions, always reach out. We are here for you. I'm here for you. And like I said, really share your ideas and experiences with me, because I'm still educating myself and I will never stop educating myself on this subject. So all of your experiences and ideas are really appreciated as well. Last thing I want to mention is our 10-tip video guide. It's a daily series of videos to increase inclusivity in your yoga classes, to become more confident, become more effective, and teach your yoga classes internationally and worldwide, whether it's abroad, online, whatever you want to teach. Those are 10 tips that will help you do all of that. So have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week, and I will see you soon again. Bye!
You listen to Your Yoga in English, brought to you by Enga Unite, a unique online learning platform for non-native English-speaking yogis and yoga teachers. If you feel inspired and liked what you learned today, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and follow us at Enga Unite and become a member of our online community, Your Yoga in English, on Facebook. Practice, rest, repeat, and all will come.